want to do what has not been done in 24 years, balance the federal budget. We're going to balance it.
We have to cut spending.
We don't have a revenue problem in this country. Revenues are up. In fact, they're up at historic levels. What we have is a spending problem.
Reduce the size and scope of government, make it work more efficiently and effectively for the American people.
He wants to balance the budget. I know I do too.
We do not have a revenue problem in the United States of America. We have a spending problem.
Ooh. Well, that is a load off. Here, I was worried that the powerful people in D.C. were not going to cut spending, but listening to all of them talk about it, I guess they're serious this time. Joining me now, Senator Ron Johnson, great senator from the state of Wisconsin. Hey, Senator, how serious are all these people about cutting spending?
Well, Jesse, first of all, I appreciate you playing that clip. That was I had my staff do that. The full clip runs about a minute 30 of all these leaders saying that, some version of we don't have a revenue problem. We have a spending problem, but I'm sad to report that they're not living up to their rhetoric. They just simply aren't. I mean, the House bill, sounds like a lot, right? $1.5 trillion. But you have to put that in context. According to CBO, we will spend $89.3 trillion over the next 10 years. We will add $22 billion to our debt. That's a deficit on average of $22.2 trillion per year. And the House is proposing $150 trillion or $150 billion a year. The $1.5 trillion, by the way, is reduced by about $340 billion in new spending on defense and the border. So you're talking about less than $1.2 trillion over 10 years. That's about a 1.3% reduction. And again, 150 a year compared to over 7 trillion. Again, we went from 4,400 billion in 2019 to $7,000 billion. Next year, we're projected to spend about 7.3 trillion. So we're still going to be above $7 trillion, a 58% increase, unprecedented level of increase. And it just seems like nobody's serious about returning to a reasonable pre-pandemic level of spending. And I think you know I've laid out options, somewhere between $5.5 and $6.5 trillion, taking total outlays, plus inflation, plus population growth using this year's Social Security, Medicare, and interest. This is eminently doable, but you need the commitment by the president. You need the commitment by members of Congress to actually drive that process. And right now, we don't have that commitment.
Senator, can you help me understand as best you can? I know you're frustrated, and I appreciate you coming on and giving us an update on this. Why we don't have that commitment? I understand the president has campaign things. He campaigned on no taxes on tips, things like that. He wants to get that done. I totally get that. I don't fault him for it. I understand that there are things that you don't even get a say in, the stuff that's guaranteed in there. But there's nothing else? So where's all the other extra stuff coming from? That's not $1.5 trillion. It doesn't add up to that.
Not even close. And let's face it, how are we going to realize and codify the DOGE savings? And last time I looked, they were up to about $165 billion. We haven't received a rescission package. I'm not hearing of any of those DOGE exposed waste, fraud, and abuse included in this reconciliation package. So, I mean, it's great to talk about it. It's great to say we're going to reduce spending. But again, bottom line, if we go from 7.3 to 7.15, that's still a 1.7% increase over what we're going to spend this year. So again, that's how Democrats talk. That's their rhetoric, where they actually turn an increase and call it a cut. It's not a cut. It's a reduction in the rate of growth, I suppose. But we would still, according to my calculations, with this big, beautiful bill, add about $4 trillion to our projected deficit. Instead of $22 trillion, we'd add about $26 trillion. Instead of going up from 37 to 59, we'd go up to about $63 trillion. And that's the reality. This is rhetoric versus reality. I just happen to be pointing out the reality, and people don't like it.
Senator, I can't help but be suspicious about the fact that we still don't actually have a bill on the president's desk. And I say it this way because these bills tend to get worse as the deadline looms larger, because these corrupt dirtballs in D.C. throw more corruption than they're knowing there's a deadline coming. I'm worried this bill is actually going to get worse than it currently is. Do you share that concern?
Well, right now, House conservatives, to their credit, are digging their heels in, and they're making improvements. But again, even if they actually hit the targets, in other words, don't push the spending out to the out years where it'll never happen. it's still completely inadequate. They literally set the bar way too low. I mean, 1.5 trillion versus 89.3 trillion. It doesn't bend the spending curve down at all. It increases the deficit. If there was one goal of this Republican budget reconciliation, it ought to be at least reduce the deficit. Don't increase it. We're increasing it, and nobody's talking about it. I guess, really, there are a few of us, but I'm the guy writing the op-eds that the Wall Street Journal title, The Ugly Truth About the Big Beautiful Bill. That's the big, beautiful bill. That's a sales pitch. It's false advertising. It's rhetoric. It's not reality.
All right, let's move on and talk about something else that might end up being good. Kash Patel went on the news, talked about the Russia hoax. Here's what he said.
Congress is working rigorously with us. The Crossfire Hurricane documents are coming fast and hard, and they're being sent there unredacted so we can have full accountability. And that's how you restore what the trust that was lost to the American public when it comes to the FBI. What we can do now is continue to put out the documents and the information that these people withheld from the American public. And I'm just telling you right now, as much as we know about Crossfire Hurricane, he and I just found out more last week. And we're continuing to work with Congress to put those documents out. That's how vindictive and vicious the former leadership structure here was. Not only did they bastardize the FISA process and lie to the American public, they withheld and hid documentation and put it in rooms where people weren't supposed to look. And it's a good thing we're here now to clean it up, and you're about to see a wave of transparency.
What do you mean?
Just give us about a week or two.
Senator, now that sounds really good, and I'm crossing my fingers. I'm hopeful, but people don't realize the level of criminality that took place to go after Donald Trump.
No, not even close. And listen, I take Kash Patel's word. We'll start receiving some of those documents. I think we've gotten some, but again, we need all of them. I don't want to. We'll be very transparent as we get things that people don't know. We will put those out there, but he can put those out there as well. Right now, this week, I'm going to be holding a hearing on corruption of science in the federal health agencies. We're going to be talking about how federal health agencies knew about myocarditis, actually had a safety signal. They admitted, yes, there's a safety signal. A couple days later, they're saying there's no safety signal. So again, we're going to show that, but the deep state does not give up its secrets very easily. As transparent as I know Kash Patel and Bobby Kennedy want to be, they're still fighting the bureaucracy. Things have to be vetted, and it's going to be a tough slog. This isn't going to come overnight.
They also brought up January 6th, which I found interesting. So a lot of people thought post-pardons that whole thing had kind of gone away. Here they were.
We got answers coming. We just found a trove of information, and it's on its way to Capitol Hill right now. And they've asked, and they're getting them, and you're getting answers on January 6th. You're getting answers on what sourcing was utilized, what money was utilized, how many assets were utilized, who made those decisions. You're getting it. We can only control the FBI, but you're getting it from the FBI.
Were there FBI agents undercover egging people on?
Like I said, that answer is coming, and it's on its way to Congress.
You're about to, I saw it. I saw the portfolio of information. We dug far and wide to find it, and I'm pretty sure now we have a conclusive, definitive answer. To get to the bottom of something like January 6th and the pipe bomber case, for example, you need three things. You need people, you need information, and you need people with information. I'll allow the public to put that together, and just wait, and you'll see. Nothing we're doing, nothing is by accident.
Senator, have you found them to be extremely open with you? I know Dan. Dan's a good man. I understand the FBI has some real problems there, but are they giving you everything you want when you ask?
I think they will, but we haven't got it yet. I mean, Senator Grassley and I wrote a letter to make sure that we could get from all the agencies, not just the FBI, but who did you have present 9/11? We had the Michael Horowitz report, but they're just talking about the confidential human sources that the FBI had there. What about other law enforcement? What about Capitol Police? CIA? I mean, I have no idea. We wanted a full accounting. We haven't got that yet.
Okay. All right. I hope you do. Senator, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.